Link had come to town, come to save the Princess Zelda, and get them took her away, and now the children will pay, but they will when Link saves the day. Hallelujah! Now Link, fill up your hearts so you can shoot your sword with power, and if you're feeling all down, the fatty will come out so you keep brave and not a sister coward. Ding. Now Link has saved the day. He put God in his grave, and now Zelda is free, and now our hero shall be. Link, I think your name shall go down into history. Shivering me pixels. Welcome to Splitting Wires. I'm your host, Austin. It's your co-host, James of Z. Let's talk about Zelda! Oh dear Lord, this is gonna be a fun one. I love me some Legend of Zelda. One of my personal favorite franchises, and I would say might be the best. But that's only opinion based. I might be wrong, and everyone here is wrong but me. Wait a minute, I just proved myself wrong. But whatever, what I'm trying to say is this. I love Zelda. James, do you like Zelda?
I very much enjoy Zelda.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games, and in fact, you wouldn't have ever played Zelda if it wasn't for me.
That is absolutely true. Back in, I think it was 1999, I think.
Whatever the heck we had Ocarina.
Zach's. It was in Michigan. It was at Zach's cottage, and you guys were playing a Nintendo 64, playing Ocarina of Time.
And we were lost ourselves.
And the
we
game
couldn't figure it out. Something.
We were all dumb back then.
We were lost in Kakariko.
Dumb and dumb.
Couldn't escape Kakariko Woods.
And at that point, I wanted that game. So that year, 1999, I got the game for myself, Nintendo 64. And here's the thing: I got the original Nintendo 64 version, the one where they didn't edit anything yet. Me, I got the one where they didn't censor the Islamic chanting in the Fire Temple theme. It was pretty wicked. It was actually a really cool theme, actually.
Pretty cool.
It was a good thing. I actually wish they didn't censor it, but whatever. Long story short, Ocarina of Time is Scarra here. This is where it all started for me. I didn't play the original games back in those days, but
Ocarina of Time was the first experience for us.
It was a first experience for all of us, but I did eventually get to play the original games. I got a chance to play them. Archaic, yes, but they did have a merit. They had something about them. Like,
yeah.
Back in those times, I would see why that would be amazing. The ability to save your game. It was like the ability to save your game at any time was astounding. Back then, they didn't have save states. They didn't have save game files. They had to rely on a code in order to continue your progress. Like in the Mega Man games and Mario, I think they only started saving your games until like the second or third game. I don't remember. But here's the thing. Zelda's not a game. It's an experience. It's an experience that allows you to be lost. Just like if you were lost in Kakariko Village.
Yeah, you do get lost in Zelda.
In Zelda felt magical because it felt like you were exploring.
Yeah.
You had to find things for yourself. There was a little hand-holding to be able to give you hints on where to go next, but overall, you still had a decision of where you want to go, when you want to go, what you want to do, and when you want to. You can poop anytime you want, and I'm glad they gave you that ability of pooping whenever you want.
Pop in, not poop, right?
Yes, pop in.
That's a different game.
We'll talk about Tony Hawk another time. But here's the thing. We gotta get back to the meat of this. Legend of Zelda. What makes it so good? The exploration, the items, the dungeons, the kooky little characters you're gonna find in the way there. The legend. Ganon himself is definitely a high state of the series. Link, our silent protagonist here, Select Mute. He is one strange guy, but damn, is he a hero.
To me, one of the most important, and when I think about Zelda, this is what I think about. It's the music.
Oh, the music!
And when it came to this newest Zelda, Breath of the Wild,
it lacked
When
music.
it came to the newest Zeldas in general,
they lack music.
They lack the cinematic, orchestral oomph of
This
Ocarina.
is the same. I think it's the same time. I think Koji Kondo still does the music for Legend of Zelda games. I think he does. I'm not too sure.
Majora's Mask still had it.
Because Koji Kondo.
Because it was
Koji
and it was
Kondo.
also still the
Koji
N64, so they probably still had a lot of the
Wind
same
Waker
remnants.
had good music.
Wind Waker had good music.
Oh, Dragon Roost Island.
Wind Waker had good music. But right after there is kind of where they lost it.
Well, they had different music in other Zelda games at the time. Minish Cap had some great music too. Twilight Princess, not a lot of good tracks. There are some good tracks in Twilight Princess that I liked.
Not as
memorable.
And then move on from there.
And the Sky theme was pretty good. Skyward Sword.
What past that? In Ocarina of Time, you have like 30 different themes you could point to that are like, holy cow, I can't get these earworms out.
There were many earworms.
They're so good.
People say that Link to the Past had the originals from Ocarina of Time, but here's the thing. The music from Ocarina of Time, even if some of it did came from Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time had its own original soundtrack that didn't come from Link to the Past.
Who cares? You use what's best, in my opinion, and that's where I'm having trouble getting into some of these newer. You don't, but for me, I'm having trouble getting to these newer Zeldas and staying there because I'm just not enthralled by them.
They say
I'm in the world, and I'm not hearing the themes and songs and music that I would love to hear.
The music is very important.
And the music is so important for me in a Zelda experience. And in the last few Zeldas, that it doesn't get me to stay. The music does not get me to stay. Where the music in the other ones would grow on you, and you stay almost because you love the music, you love the gameplay, you love everything about it. With this new Zelda, for me, I didn't like the parts of the gameplay. I didn't like parts of the music. I thought some of the things were a little too tedious. This food making system was a little weird.
Yeah, I actually like the food system.
It was a cool idea.
And it still works. You can make any food you want. You can store any kind of food you want. Different ingredients give out different benefits. I like the food mechanics.
But it goes into what a little bit of my complaints with League of Legends. In that it was a little too tedious at sometimes. I have to make sure I have this right kind of combination. And then on top of that, I have to worry about my sword wearing out. What?
I am perhaps...
I didn't sign up for Lost Souls.
I might be the only one who thinks this, but I don't care about the weapons breaking.
I hate
It's because you're going to get a lot more later, and who cares?
I guess. But it's
I'm okay with using back. But here's you want to save your better weapons for the stronger fights, and you'll still find better weapons as you go on. Yeah. And on top of that, the Master Sword, even if the Master Sword breaks, you'll still regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't care about the breakable weapons. You're going to get a lot of them anyways.
I found it annoying and tedious, though, because I was saving weapons when I really should have just been using
them in the first place.
I should have just used them and to back with it.
You think you're saving them for another time, but you're like, oh my god, what did I do? I should have just used them because I'm going to get a better weapon anyway.
Exactly. It made no point. But you really didn't figure that out
But
later.
it also ruins the idea that going after mobs in those games, you're like, oh my god, if I just beat this mob, I'm gonna get. There's a cool chest in there. I could get rupees. I could get him a new sword or a new weapon, anything like that. It kind of defects. There's no reason in the mid to end game of Breath of the Wild to go into mobs to get more stuff because you already got all the good stuff you want. All the equipment is found in some of the mini dungeons or from other villagers or from other towns to buy stuff. The main important thing that you want in Breath of the Wild are rupees. Yeah, you can get a lot from destroying more monsters and get more and sell more of their parts, but honestly, treasure in Breath of the Wild would have been better. I would love to find more rupees so I can buy more arrows for myself and buy more clothing for myself.
It would have been cool to have more worthwhile treasure.
Mobs should have given out treasure instead of weapons, so that way you can get some money out of them. That's how I would have fixed the issue. There are some that give out rupees, but I wanted more of them.
It would have been cool to get the giant sword that you could have gotten and then had repaired at some point. Just bring back some of the old ideas. I want the bigger
start to use this.
That's what I'm saying. They have a lot of.
I bought this
Switch broke
just to
use
this.
Broke
I bought this amiibo just to get the Hero of Time outfit. I am that much of an Ocarina of Time weeaboo that I wanted this outfit.
But that's one of my issues with Zelda is they have a plethora of success to draw from. And they draw from some of those things, and they totally miss the boat on some of the other things
Breath of the Wild wanted to be its own,
right there.
Breath of the Wild wanted to be its own thing, so they didn't want to take anything from other games. They wanted it to be its own thing.
And it was a cool
It was a smart. I think it was actually. I think Breath of the Wild, it sold very well.
It doesn't have staying power though, because once you've beaten it, once you've mastered its basic.
Oh no, I am going to be playing this game a lot.
You will, do you think
I've already beaten it twice.
Do you think it's the most replayable? Do you think it's the most replayable Zelda yet? What's the most replayable Zelda?
This.
What? Ocarina?
Ocarina of Time is the most replayable Zelda. But let me talk about Breath of the Wild first.
Okay.
Breath of the Wild it's replayable because you can play in any way you want.
Maybe the second most replayable Zelda?
No. Let me finish one.
So it's not the first or second?
Let me explain.
That's a knock.
I need to talk about this first. Breath of the Wild, you might think that playing any dungeon in any order, any other mini dungeon you want, to go anywhere you want and anywhere you want, might increase its replayability value, but here's my problem with the non-linear debate in Legend of Zelda dungeons or in progression. Even if you are going in a different route, the results are still going to be the same. Mm-hmm. No amount of if you go into another dungeon, get an item in there, say a special ability, I found a hook shot. Now I can go in this dungeon and use it. Nope, that's not how it works. In Breath of the Wild, you don't get any new equipment. You only get abilities from the 4 other champions, but you don't need those abilities to move around. They only power up Link rather than let him find different ways to reverse. Ravioli's, whatever the fuck his name is, Ravi's wind is pretty useful, but it's not that useful because you can get around by just climbing itself. Mm-hmm. So that's what my debate is. My argument
so it's
is
a fake open world.
Yeah. You can go anywhere you want in Breath of the Wild. That's true. You can go anywhere you want. But my problem is, no matter getting stronger is going to give you more abilities to make next dungeons. Let's say oh my god, this dungeon's really hard. I don't like it. I'm going to go to a different, easier one. I'm going to come back to it stronger. Yeah, you're stronger, but you didn't get an item to make that dungeon stronger. You could have still done this dungeon without any other item to help you. So what's the point? All you do is making the dungeon a bit easier just because you have more hearts or a little stronger equipment and armor. That's not progression. That's just getting higher numbers. That's not what I wanted.
That's stat-based?
In the original Legend of Zelda, you can go to Dungeon 8 if you have the candle. Go in the hardest dungeon, the second hardest dungeon, because the final dungeon is actually the hardest. The 8th dungeon is very strong. You can go to it immediately just by spraying the candle. You could beat it right there and then. You don't need anything else. You could do that. And you can get other items to help you out, because you the boomerang, the bow and arrow. You can get a blue
And
ring,
if you don't have them,
you get bombs. You can
still beat it, but it would make it harder.
But it'd be harder. But you didn't need. But another thing is, you don't really need any other items to beat it. That's still a flaw, because why would I want to make this harder for myself? The end results are still going to be the same. That's my argument too. Back to what I'm saying. Ocarina of Time, though, or Twilight Princess, even though they're linear, you still enjoy them for what they are. They're still going to be the same. So I don't give a crap about linear or non-linear Zelda because it makes no difference. The end results are still going to be the same. There's no multiple endings in Breath of the Wild. There's nothing different of playing it out of order. You might get a different experience, maybe, but the end results are still going to be the same. In fact, they'll make them easy. But the worst part is, you'll probably make the end game even easier for yourself. What's the point? The more you progress through Breath of the Wild, it's going to get easier and easier and easier.
Well, that's the point of any, right? You want it to both get easier and harder at the same rate.
But Breath of the Wild doesn't get harder, it gets easier. Breath of the Wild is really hard in the beginning. It's so funny. Breath of the Wild is super hard in the beginning of the game. It's anything can kill Link instantly. And I was oh god, this game is scary hard. But as you keep going, it gets easier and easier and easier. And then you're
to the point where it's a cakewalk.
Where's the point of the cakewalk? It's I'm stronger. Yeah, that's good. But where can I challenge myself?
Right. And you lost challenge.
I lost challenge.
And so no longer could you enter an area and be okay, I gotta strategize about why I'm here. No, I could just walk into here, close my eyes, and just.
The game is funner when you limit yourself. The game is funner when you limit yourself. It's a lot more fun when you limit yourself.
And that's my problem.
But I want to get stronger. I want Link to find new equipment, but I want the world to level up with me. It sort of does that by giving. There's some Bokoblins or Bokoblins. I don't know what the hell. No one knows. I haven't pronounced his name yet. Some people think Bokoblins. Some people say Bokoblins. I think it's Bokoblins.
I think it's the first one you're saying.
Yeah, it's most likely Bokoblins. But anyway, for the Bokoblins, There are silver bokoblins running around. There's silver moblins running around. There's silver lionels running around. They're stronger, but all they don't have any new moves. They just have bigger numbers now. And you got to get stronger armor to get around that. Everything kills you with a one-hit KO by those things. But regardless, what matters most is like I want to fight enemies that have different moves and tactics. I need to figure out how to beat them. I want to fight more bosses. I want to fight more mini bosses. Breath of the Wild doesn't have that stuff.
That's funny. When you're talking about Breath of the Wild, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, wow, it sounds kind of like FIFA, where it's like you start off as this lower league team in FIFA, like, you know, a team without any of the resources, and you're playing these lower league enemies, sometimes bigger league enemies, but really nothing changes. You just get easier. It just makes it easier. And nothing really changes on their end to make them harder or more difficult to handle or their tactics evolving. You just get more tools to make it easier, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're at the end game.
Pretty much.
And so that's the same thing with Breath of the Wild, where it's just really, really hard at first, gets super easy.
It's like, yeah, it feels like a good thing. Like, yeah,
and
I'm starting to get stronger.
Where it's getting easier,
but
do they challenge? Do they throw a test at you, or do they throw a quiz at you to make the challenge, to make getting all those skills worth your while?
It's because all of the mini dungeons and dungeons have a set difficulty, and that set difficulty is designed so you can take them down first. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest problem with Breath of the Wild. All those dungeons are designed so you can take them on first, and anytime you want to start with this dungeon first, or you want to start this mini dungeon first, you can do it first, and its difficulty is set.
It doesn't matter which one you choose.
There's no way, like, hey, if I go over here, these dungeons over here are going to get harder now because they're going to have, like, stronger enemies, like, different tactics. The boss has...
You don't get advantaged by going in any direction.
The game does not make itself more difficult as you go on. That is its biggest flaw.
Mm. So, a game is a game because it's a game. Yeah. It's something to figure out, to be a challenge to be overcome.
Now, let's go back to that replayability thing, James. Do I think Breath of the Wild is replayable? Yes and no. Yes, as in, yeah, you can have a different experience, a different world, but the end game is still the same. It's going to be very easy.
Well, that's most
I can make myself challenging. I can, like, my second playthrough, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the hardest area in the game I know, which is Death Mountain. Death Mountain's pretty damn fucking hard.
So the second playthrough, you're like, I'm going to go do the hardest thing I can right away.
And then that was my biggest mistake, because the easiest stuff that I started first in my first playthrough, which is, I feel like it was designed for me to go first, because, like, it was easy. It's even easier now, and I went back, I'm like, oh my god.
Wow, you've eliminated all the hard stuff.
Cakewalk. I killed this Lionel in, like, a few seconds. Like, holy crap, what have I done? I broke the game.
You broke the game!
I broke the game because I went after the Master Sword first.
But that idea is also what I have in FIFA. It's like where I have to make the choice of making the game more limited or more complicated or more complex or make the game more challenging because the game isn't capable of doing so.
Pretty much. That's the only way I'll make the game hard for me is I gotta limit myself. But I want to get stronger. Mm-hmm. It's like I want to complete this game. I want to get everything I want. I want to get all the armor upgrades. I want to get all the armor stuff. My favorite armor is the electric armor, where I look like Link has like a little catfish helmet. It's like, oh, that's a cool reference to the catfish that has thunder powers. Or earthquake powers. That's really cool. Now I'm there's a
Jabu Jabu.
No, Jabu Jabu's not a catfish. Jabu Jabu's like a just big giant fish. Anyway, so that's my biggest problem with Breath of the Wild, and it makes it somewhat replayable, but not so replayable as a Twilight Princess Ocarina of Time. Here's the thing: those linear games, the fact that they are linear means that the story can progress in the way that it wants to. Breath of the Wild has no story. The story already happened. You just have to go find the memories to tell you what happened. There is no story in Breath of the Wild.
There is not.
You can go directly to Ganon in 45 minutes to beat the game. That's like the current speedrunner. I think it could be even lesser than that. It's, I think Miyamoto or someone else states that you can beat the game in 50 minutes. No one has yet to do that, and I bet you they are right. I bet you there's a way to glitch it to beat it in 50 minutes. But
before I played the game, I watched the video of Breath of the Wild, and I remember skipping forward, and like every time I skipped forward, it was hard to tell where I was and what was happening that was different than what was happening before.
The environment will be different. The environment in
environment
Breath of the Wild
was
is
different.
great. I love the environment.
was
The
different.
world in Breath of the Wild,
But the
perfect.
But the story
it's
itself,
perfect.
it was like
I love it.
It was like there
But
was no story.
Scaling was
It
missing.
was no, but it was
There
but
was no
the point
story.
of it was like there was no story to follow.
No story
it was
to
just
follow.
it was just keep walking.
I really feel like Nintendo screwed themselves over on this one because everyone wanted a
Jesus.
everyone wanted a non-linear Zelda game. They got it. But now how do they do story? They did memories of Link to discover, hey, you want to discover the story on your own? You're like, here, you can have the story at your own pace.
Or so
That's
no story at all.
not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
The story at your own pace means, you know what? You know how you could have gone the story at your own pace in Ocarina of Time? Go find the next dungeon.
Yeah.
You could screw around. You're like, hey, I want to go get
And
some
you
upgrades.
didn't have to go to the next dungeon to continue the story,
Yeah, it's
but
like,
you could
hey,
go.
I'm going to go to Gerudo Valley and get some heart pieces. Hey, I'm going to go to Kakariko and get a bottle. Oh, I'm going to go to Long Adventure and get a bottle and get the Epona song. I'm gonna go to Death Mountain. Oh, I'm going to go to the Great Topic to get the Great Fairy of Power to get some magic meter. I could have gone the pace of story whenever I want. Like, okay, I'm going to go to Zora's Domain and continue the story. That is controlling the story at your own pace. What Breath of the Wild did was, hey, you can get some story past chunk bits to get the story at your own pace. Those story, because here's the thing: the 4 races that to get the Divine Beast to get them in order to get the powers of stuff. That's optional. That's not part of it. That's just all of that stuff. And here's the thing: everything in Breath of the Wild is optional. It's optional. You can just go straight to Ganon and kill him in the span of 45 minutes. That means there is no story. There is no story.
That's what boggles my mind. Is that with Zelda, you're signing up for a little bit of the story and most of the adventure. They stripped the story out.
If Nintendo was smart, they would do a Xenoblade Saga, a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Legend of Gold Torna, whatever it's called, and have a game set where Link is shown to be the champion, go through those memories and play out Hyrule and make the dungeons what they used to be, like in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker.
Wait, what is this game called?
The game's called Breath of the Wild.
Oh, no, what you're talking about, though.
I'm talking about a Xenoblade game.
What's that?
It's a game of... How do I explain
Is that another episode?
It's another episode. It's like a me episode, not you. Long story short, a woman with big tits is a sword.
Whoa.
Anyway, let's move on.
I think maybe we should shut her down here. We reached the culmination. Do you have
all right.
Have you answered all your questions?
Well, let me go back to one more thing before we call us off.
Yeah.
Zelda is fun because of the journey. The journey of Breath of the Wild was fun. I'll give it that. But the story means it was nonsense. No. Hyrule has a story to tell. You can find it in the memories, but it didn't take any precedence. It was only optional. A Zelda game is best for me when it's linear, but not as linear as Skyward Sword and doesn't hold your damn hand all the time. That is bad linearity, and stop reusing content, you freaking lazy bastards. Alright, that's it. I'm done. Thank you very much.
You could see the metaphorical sigh fly out of his mouth. Like your Ash. Alright, boys and girls, we'll see you guys later for another episode of Spinning Wires. Toss us a like if you enjoyed the conversation. Toss any thoughts or comments below to add to the conversation. We're always interested to hear what you guys have to say to add to the conversation.
In the comment section, type down what's your favorite Zelda game and why you liked it. Or do you think Breath of the Wild is as good as it states? Do you think there really was a story? Do you think the what makes a story in Legend of Zelda good? What makes a good Zelda game? I don't know. Put any of those comments down.
For me, real quick, I was a little disappointed because I thought that Legend of Zelda, I had all this hype, and it did not live up to the hype of the greatest Zelda game ever. It was a great game, but I guess it was
It's like I was disappointed by the story.
But
that's what I was
just
disappointed
felt
by.
there were aspects that they had right, but then there were a couple of things that they totally just missed.
They did miss them.
But you know what? If this was just like an effort, this is going to go into Breath of the Wild 2.
Yep, Iwata not Iwata. Okay.
Now we're talking, because Breath of the Wild 2 has got me excited.
They want to make a game like Breath of the Wild, but better.
Yes.
So I think what they're going to do is they're going to retake the same engine, and they're going to make a brand new Hyrule, brand new. They're probably gonna take the criticism of that game. Like, okay, you want more dungeon, you want more items to interact with the overworld. Okay, fine. We'll make it linear, but not too linear. We're gonna make it non-linear, but not non-linear enough, so you can so we can limit some things, so you can use some items to progress. Like, thank you. That's make it.
So change the way the players are asking.
Yeah, here's the thing. The next Breath of the Wild game, don't make it too non-linear. Make it non-linear enough so we can discover items, worlds.
Like what you were saying.
You have some of the story you need the story to take precedence. You need
where
the
you have
story
the option
to
be powerful or not be powerful.
No. The option that you need that progression. It's important. You should not go after to kill the boss in the span of 45 minutes.
Well, what you were just saying about the other previous Zelda
you need
was
a story. I think the story
you had
is
the
always
option.
kind of important.
No, well, that you had the option to make yourself more powerful or not to go do this thing.
Yes.
You need these options so you could vary up the gameplay and make it a little less
scaling. Better scaling.
Not linear.
Yeah. Better scaling. That's
more
all
options.
All you gotta do, and better scaling. That's all I have to say.
All right, boys and girls.
Thank
I
you
think
very
that
much.
is
Have a nice
finally
day.
where
We'll see you next video.
We'll see you guys in the next
Ta-ta,
video.
ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Wait, Zelda's the man, right?
Shut up.